Good afternoon. The Subcommittee on Federal Workforce, U.S. Postal Service, and Labor Policy will come to order. The Subcommittee meets today to consider H.R. 2309, the Postal Reform Act of 2011. The Subcommittee will now consider H.R. 2309, the Postal Reform Act of 2011, and I recognize myself for an opening statement. The United States Postal Service is broke. Mail volume has plummeted by more than 20% over the last 5 years, and the decline is expected to continue. Labor costs are 80% of the Postal Service's total expenses. Existing compensation and benefits contracts leave management unable to effectively reduce the size or cost of this workforce. If the Postal Service were a private business, it would have to declare bankruptcy and completely reorganize itself. On September 30th, 2011, when its fiscal year ends, the Postal Service expects to declare a $10 billion loss for the fiscal year, reach its $15 billion statutory debt limit, default on a required $5.5 billion payment due the U.S. Treasury to pre-fund its own employees' retired health care costs, and by next summer, the Postal Service will not make payroll and mail delivery will begin to grind to a halt. The handwriting is on the wall. Either we make necessary systemic changes to the postal infrastructure, or we allow this proud American institution to disintegrate before our eyes. Short-term fixes that rely on taxpayer-funded bailouts will not save the Post Office. That approach, evidenced in the proposal forwarded to Congress by the White House earlier this week, is an attempt to find an easy way out. By putting our collective heads in the sand and wishing the problem away will not just cost taxpayers money in the near term. Postponing the Postal Service's day of reckoning will make it more likely that the American people will ultimately have to pay tens of billions of dollars to make good on the Postal Service's obligations to its retirees. In short, the only way out for the U.S. Postal Service's current mess is to vastly restructure its operations, reducing the organization's workforce and labor costs and providing it tools needed to compete in the 21st century. Today we will consider H.R. 2309, the Postal Reform Act. It will create a receivership entity to balance postal finances, extend a collateralized debt limit line to ensure that its mail is still delivered, right-size and modernize the postal workforce and infrastructure, and eliminate a number of unfunded mandates on the United States Postal Service, such as 6-day mail delivery. There is no denying that this bill incorporates many politically difficult decisions. But I believe the American people didn't send us here to do what is easy. They sent us here to do what is right and what may be hard. I strongly believe that there is room for bipartisan support on this issue, and I hope we can work together to make this proposal even better as it moves through the legislative process. The status quo for the Postal Service is no longer sustainable, and reform is urgently needed. I thank my colleagues for being here today, and I look forward to working with them to ensure the postal services are available to all Americans for at least the next 200 years. And now I recognize the ranking member from Massachusetts, Mr. Lynch, to make an opening statement.